before we go to the West, let's go to the NFC West, and then we'll end it on our favorite division.
Okay.
All right, kick us off.
Hear my paper rustling around here. So at 1, I have the San Francisco 49ers at 12-5. Mm-hmm. I have at number 2, I have the Seattle Seahawks at 10-7. At 3, I have the Los Angeles Rams at 8-9. And at 4, I have the Arizona Cardinals at 4-13.
Wow, you're really high on the Cardinals.
Yes.
Okay.
4 huge ones.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to remind everyone that I did this over a month ago. So if with all the information I know now, I wish I would have changed it. No, it does. I'm going to stick with it. I just want that asterisk on there, so that way if I lose, there's an asterisk, so it doesn't count.
Here, you want me to mark that here?
Yeah. Okay, so San Fran, I have them obviously taking the division number 1 at 13-4. I really think that they're going to be a very good team in the NFC. The Rams, this is where, okay, I wish I can do this over again. I have the Rams number 2 at 8-9. I'm not high on them, but now with Cooper Kupp basically going on the IR, they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league, but it is what it is. I have them 8-9, second place in this division. And then I have the Seahawks number 3 at 8-9. I am a little apprehensive about their play last year. I want to see if Geno Smith can duplicate it. I know that he had a really good season as a first-year starter in Seattle. I want to see if he can do that. Yeah. And also, too, this defense is pretty young. I want to see if they can put it together. I imagine they'll be really good, but I want to see how Geno Smith reacts to second year in this offense. So I have them tying the Rams at 8-9, but I have the Seahawks finishing in third place. And and Arizona Cardinals, I have them finishing at 3-14. And I struggle to find 3 wins. I would not be surprised if they only win 1 or 2 games this entire season. It is clear that they are going for the number 1 pick and that they are going to be probably the worst team on the field. So they're
not getting Caleb Williams.
They're getting the number 1 pick, at least. That's all I know.
Yes, they are getting the number 1 pick, but we're going to see another Eli Manning, John Elway type scenario where they are not going to play for that team.
Yeah,
because Caleb Williams' dad has already said it, and it looks like Caleb Williams is down for that. And hey, more power to you, man. Good for you, because Caleb Williams had a quote where he was like, "Yeah, all my life I've been able to pick where I wanted to go, and now all of a sudden I become a professional where I can get paid and have all types of this money and buy my own house and buy my own car and blah blah blah. Yet I can't pick where I want to play." So I was like, "Good for you, man. You should say that, because I would not want to go to Arizona, that trash of an organization." Yeah.
That is the most Gen Z answer I've ever heard in my entire life. Anyways, but I'm not very high on the Cardinals. I don't care who they get the number 1 pick. That's their pick, though. And it is clear as day that they're trying to be the worst product on the football field, and serves them right, because wasn't it in the offseason they were like, they got a F grade for like facility amongst like their own players. So their own players don't even like playing in Arizona. So
Yeah. Arizona's bad, man. They're bad. Listen, I kind of think they're actually in a decent situation. I know this sounds crazy, but I think they're in an okay situation, because if they get the number 1 pick, but they end up not, like, let's say Caleb Williams is like, "No, I'm not playing for you guys." I actually don't think that's a big of a loss, even though I've been a lot, I guess, lower on Kyler Murray lately. Specifically with everything that he's been doing and kind of everything's coming out. I do, however, feel like Kyler Murray is still a really good quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. He had a really good season. It was the playoff that was really bad. It looked really bad. Right. And then obviously last year, with the injury and all that. So I don't think Arizona is in a absolute crap situation. I do think they have a situation where they can still build this team and still have a quarterback. Right. And so that's kind of what I feel like. So I will say it by that, but at least this year, it's not good. Arizona has nothing going for them, unfortunately. I mean, James Conner, I feel bad for the guy because he's such a talented running back. I mean, they did the Hard Knocks, in-season Hard Knocks last year, and like the story about James Conner and stuff, you really root for the guy, and unfortunately, it's just really in a bad situation.
Yeah.
And he went from Pittsburgh, where they're so successful every single year. Now he's in Arizona, where they were successful, and now they're not.
Yeah. Well, and I was telling you this on Marco Polo, not to go down another rabbit hole, but about Kyler Murray. I think he is a very good quarterback. I think, though, that he was drafted into a very immature organization with how it was ran by the GM and the head coach. I truly think that really stumped his development and his maturity into the league, because I really feel like had he been with like an organization that knew what they were doing to help him kind of grow up, so to speak, we wouldn't be having question marks about like, is he mature enough? Does he study his playbook or any of these other stories that have come out recently? And there wouldn't be this question mark if he should be still the franchise quarterback. But, again, I think that Kyler Murray's in the situation where he got drafted into a poor situation. And now with their development, he's now on the back end of it of like, well, you should be at this point. And he's probably not there quite yet. And not only that, but he's rehabbing an injury. And there's now a question is if he's going to have a job when the next season rolls around. So it's just an unfortunate situation. But I mean, the Arizona Cardinals are the gift that keeps on giving, I guess, when it comes to like drafting really bad. So
you know what? I'm gonna switch it a little bit. I'm gonna stay in the NFC West, but I'm actually gonna switch the teams because I feel like we're beating a dead horse now. But I actually had the Rams and Seahawks switched. I had the Rams at 10-7, and I was like, no, they have a terrible offensive line. Their defense is way worse. And I had the Seahawks at 8-9, like you did. So I see how you got there because their away schedule is really tough.
Yeah,
they face Detroit in Detroit, the Giants in New York, the Bengals in Cincinnati, the Ravens in Baltimore, the Rams, obviously the Rams and Niners and Cardinals, but they face Dallas in Dallas. They face Tennessee in Tennessee. So it's a tough schedule. But I was like, there's no way. I like the Seahawks way too much, and I'm really low on the Rams this year. I think 8-9, giving Rams 8-9 is actually kind of generous, to be perfectly honest. But I think they actually have somewhat of a favorable schedule at home, and I think they can win some games that maybe they shouldn't. If Matthew Stafford is healthy, which can be a big if, and if Cooper Kupp can be healthy. I know he's starting on the IR, and he'll be back week 5. But if he can be healthy the rest of the year, they can win some games that are pretty good. And Cam Akers, I felt like really looked good at the end of the year last year. So even behind a not so great offensive line. So I really do think that the Rams can get something, but there's no way you can get worse on defense and be, better. I don't see it.
I mean, the only player that's a value on that defense is Aaron Donald, and they don't have their Jalen Rams anymore. They don't have any of their former linebackers that were getting that pressure. They don't have Von Miller any longer. So, I agree. Their defense is going to take a huge step back. I actually think they somewhat addressed the offensive line. They got younger, so I think that it's only going to improve throughout the season as they grow some more confidence and they play together. I think that they're going to be a better unit than people give them credit for. I think the Rams have at the time, I thought they had a chance just having Matthew Stafford back. I think him and Cooper Kupp on the same field at least makes them very competitive. And a Sean McVay offense, he will make literally something out of nothing. But it's really tough to start Cooper Kupp on the IR. And you got, Matthew Stafford coming back from an injury himself. You got to see how healthy he is. I would not be surprised, though, towards the latter part of the season if the Rams just start putting out their rookie quarterback who they drafted is it Bennett from Georgia? Is that, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they get them out there, because if I'm not mistaken, the Rams went really young in the last 2 drafts to where they're arguably the youngest team in football. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Stafford gets injured and he sits or whatnot, or they shut everyone down towards like the last few weeks of the season to see what their young guys are. Cause, it could get out of hand for the Rams really easily. I think some of the teams that they're going to be going up against could give them a lot more trouble. Cause when the Rams won the Super Bowl, the NFC wasn't nearly as strong. And now the NFC has kind of caught up to them. And, the Rams have had to let go of a lot of their pieces that they couldn't afford any longer. And you kind of see what the team they have now, and they're really just all they have is like Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald, somewhat of a healthy Matthew Stafford, and that's pretty much it. They have no more OBJ, they have no more Brandon Cooks or whatever else.
Yeah, so we'll see. I agree with you. I think the Rams are. I think honestly we're being generous with the Rams, but again, like I said, I kind of see some sneaky wins if everyone stays healthy for the year. Minus obviously Cooper Kupp, who's starting the year injured, but only 4 weeks is not the end of the world, especially with a 17-game season now.